There was an Irish poet named Oscar Wilde who once said, "I think it's very healthy to spend time alone. You need to know how to be alone and not be defined by another person." Nowadays, our society is afraid of silence. I really like people. I like being around people, being with my friends, just hanging out and having fun. And I find that a lot of times when I'm not with other people, I'm almost sad or depressed. Like I depend on these other people for my happiness. I find my identity in them instead of in God. God calls us to find our identities in Him. David in the book of Psalms gives a perspective on this. In Psalm 146, starting in verse 3, he says, "Do not put your trust in princes, in mortal men who cannot save. When their spirit departs, they return to the ground. On that very day, their plans come to nothing. Blessed is he whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord of our God, the maker of heaven and earth, the sea and everything in them, the Lord who remains faithful forever." He talks about how when we put our hope in humans, they're going to disappoint us. They make mistakes, and they're not going to last forever. But when we put our hope in God, He's eternal, and He's always going to bring us satisfaction and joy. There's a prophet named Hosea who was called by God to marry a prostitute named Gomer. In Hosea chapter 2, starting in verse 5, he talks about his wife Gomer. "Their mother has been unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. She said, 'I will go after my lovers who give me my food and my water, my wool and my linen, my oil and my drink. Therefore I will block her path with thorn bushes. I will wall her in so that she cannot find her way. She will chase after her lovers and not catch them. She will look for them but not find them. Then she will say, I will return to my husband as at first, for then I was better off than now.'" So we run away to these earthly things thinking they're going to bring us happiness, only to find that we disappoint. And that's when a lot of times we'll turn back to God, who's the only one who can bring us true joy. Often we don't even realize that we're staying busy because we're trying to avoid silence. We are avoiding silence because in that silence we actually have to face up to who we truly are. But God calls us to be silent. In Psalm 46, verse 10, he says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." He's calling us to be still because in that silence we get to experience who He truly is and His beauty. As I said before, a lot of times I find my happiness and my identity in other people because those are the people I spend time with. We as humans, we find our identity in those who we spend a lot of time with. So if we encounter God a lot, if we take advantage of silence and we truly seek Him, that's when we find our identity in Christ. When we find our identity in our relationships with others, a lot of times we're setting ourselves up for heartache and being disappointed. But when you find your identity in your relationship with Christ, you won't be disappointed because He loves you perfectly and He's the only one who can bring you true joy. Today I challenge you to seek relationships with people who would push you closer to God and be mindful of your schedule. Set aside times to be silent and spend time in the Word. And you'll be amazed to find that in that silence and through reading His Word, God will reveal to you who you are in Him.